Well, now that we've all, I hope, enjoyed a very nice meal, now we're coming to the exciting piece of the evening. Lord Staff-Karen is ready and waiting. I hope he's enjoyed his meal. He says he's nervous, but I'm sure he did be. And we're all very excited to find out all these wonderful adventures that he's been having. So please take the floor.
Good, and thank you all for coming out on this evening fundraising for the lifeboats. We are here to raise funds tonight, and I brought along some copies of a previous book, which is about Lord Byron's grand tour of the Mediterranean. And afterwards, if anyone would like a signed copy with a message, Christmas coming up, etc., all proceeds go to the RNLI. Since that time, a couple of years ago, I've just finished another book, which is the subject of this evening's entertainment, at least as far as possible, the seagoing part of it, and it's coming out in a couple of months. And I'll make sure, Dorothy, that you've got a few signed copies for whatever comes up through the year. This latest book is about Mark Twain's travels around the Levant, the Holy Land, countries that are now Syria, Lebanon, Israel, and Egypt. And I followed in his footsteps to write this book. I thought, as we are all here interested in safety at sea, we'd be by turn amused and amazed that he actually went from New York to right around the Mediterranean, including the Black Sea, in this ship here, which is a side-wheel paddle steamer, which was originally plying the Mississippi. But people didn't seem to worry too much about health and safety in those days. And this thing arrived in the Azores on the way over, really running on ashes because they completely miscalculated. There was no coal or fresh water in the Azores, so they did what they could with buying up shacks and sent them off to Gibraltar. And then the extraordinary came back to New York across the Atlantic in November, but somehow they survived. When he got to the Holy Land, he found it to be completely under Ottoman control. This is 1867. And the Ottoman Empire went from up by Hungary right the way down, including Egypt. And as a result of that, he wrote this book, The Innocents Abroad, which remained the best-selling book in his lifetime. And I then followed in his footsteps and in his wake and wrote Innocents and War, which is based on it. Lastly, with the cast of players, I'd like to introduce you to my friend Vasco da Gama. This is our version of Quaker City, but a little bit more seaworthy. She's our floating home, study, library and wine cellar. And she left Bucklers Hard a few years ago, and she now plies her trade in the Mediterranean. And we write Jill, who can't be here tonight, unfortunately, does the photographs, the videos and research. And just now she's in the island of Leros. Now tonight, that's the background. We're going to look at Cruising the Levant, which is the name for this eastern coast of the Med. From a sailing point of view, this is very much waves less travelled. And I thought to start with a quick reminder of the geography. This is a while since we've all been at school. And these are all countries very much in the news, of course. And all subject to various debates. Even Cyprus has got the north-south divide and lots of trouble for yachtsmen going from one side to the other. Turkey drifting towards Islamification. Syria's in the news the whole time. We were there last year. It would be unwise probably to go now, definitely to go now, but there's every hope that it'll be open next year again. Lebanon is half run by Hezbollah. Israel's been on a war footing for ages. Egypt just had the Arab Spring. Jordan's the only one that's vaguely safe. This last one I've chosen to call Palestine, and of course there's the big vote in the United Nations tomorrow night. If you're there, well, if you're in Israel, it's called the West Bank because it is on the west bank of the River Jordan down there. If you're there, inside it's called the Occupied Territories, because that's exactly what they are. The politically correct, the BBC call it the Palestinian territories, but I like to call it Palestine because I think if one says it enough, you kind of wish it into being. I should say that it used to be said, it's still said, that one should never discuss politics and religion in polite society. And I'm sure there's no more polite society than that gathered here tonight. But I'm afraid there is no more political religious area than this, where the politics are religious and the religion is political, which makes it interesting. The ports we're going to look at tonight are Latsi and Gerne in Cyprus. Latsi looks like it's in northern Cyprus, but actually it's in southern Cyprus because of the way the border divides. Mersin and Iskarandam in Turkey, Latakia in Syria, Juni in Lebanon, and then these 5 marinas in Israel: Haifa, Herzliya, Tel Aviv, Ashdod, Ashkelon, and Port Said. As we'll see, this is an area really where the best cruising is done not afloat but ashore. And out of a selection of very many places to visit, these are some of the ones we're going to look at tonight, some of the more famous ones. For no particularly good reason, apart from habit, most yachtsmen cruising the Levant do so clockwise. They start normally in Turkey or Greece, and it just seems to be a bit more logical, but there's no reason at all not to do it anti-clockwise. The most likely candidates for that would be those arriving at Port Said from Suez and Arabia, but in our experience, few of them do. After their experience in the Middle East, they just want to head off to some European culture and hot-foot it to Crete 400 miles away as quickly as possible. The climate there, the weather, is dominated by this lowish, by the low sitting over Cyprus. It's a kind of highish low by our standards, and there's certainly nothing as uncouth as any cloud for months on end. But it does give one tremendous sailing, and there's a constant force 3 or 5 reaching up and down the coast. And it's by far the best sailing in the Med. With the irony that there's absolutely nowhere to go. We'll come on to that. I think at this stage I should mention EMIR, the East Mediterranean Yacht Rally. It's a lot easier leaving Israel than arriving. They're not too worried about leaving, but it has its moments. And what with one's ongoing paranoia about their shoot-first firepower and general gung-ho-itis, it's worthwhile being cautious.
Vasco da Gama, Israeli Navy, over.
Israeli Navy, this is Vasco da Gama, over.
Vasco da Gama, what is your current position relative to the Israeli coast, over?
We are 14.6 nautical miles due west of Herzliya, over.
What is your boat name, over?
Boat name is the same as the one you just hailed. Good night.
And indeed, it is. Good night. But first of all, if you ever see this fella in the bookshop, it'd be very helpful if you buy it. Thank you very much. That's the end.